Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. Right, man, some of you guys were feeling a little bit of relief because I haven't been making any videos talking about homelessness at all. Well, some of you are going to be very disappointed in the video that I'm going to make today. Although the video today is not going to solely be about homelessness, it's going to be about an issue that could potentially lead to the increase of homelessness here in the United States. Now, I'm pretty sure some of you may have may have heard of the AB 1840 bill in the state of California that the state is looking to pass. And before I go any further, I'm gonna play a short video just so you guys get a understanding of what AB 1840 is about, and then I will come back with my commentary.
Tonight, a bill in the state legislature is causing national controversy. Should undocumented immigrants be allowed to receive money from the state to help buy their first home? ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen is in studio tonight with more on what's been proposed and why it's so controversial.
Alex, buying a home here in California is difficult and expensive. But the Dream for All program, first offered in 2023, could give people who qualify up to $150,000 to buy their first home. The money designated for the program ran out in just days. And tonight I asked both Democrats and Republicans about proposed additions to the program to allow everyone, regardless of immigration status, to apply for the funding.
On a busy Tuesday at the state capitol on the Senate floor,
Assembly Bill 1840 by Assemblymember Arambula.
lawmakers passed Assembly Bill 1840. Democratic Senator Scott Wiener presented this bill on the Senate floor on behalf of its author, Assemblymember Joaquin Arambula.
This bill allows undocumented immigrants who have social security numbers or taxpayer identification numbers, meaning they're working and paying taxes in California, to be able to access down payment assistance programs.
The California Dream for All program offers up to a 20% down payment on a home or up to $150,000. AB 1840 would make it so eligible applicants would not be turned down solely based on immigration status.
Many of them have been living here for years or decades. They're raising families here. They've started businesses here. They're working, paying taxes. They're contributing to the community, and we shouldn't demonize them.
But Republican Senator Brian Jones tells ABC 10 this legislation is unfair to documented California residents.
Now is not just allowing people to immigrate illegally to America. Now we're encouraging them to immigrate illegally.
Not only that, Senator Jones takes issues with the California Dream for All program itself.
The Democrats created this problem here in California. Now they want to try to find a solution by redirecting tax dollars from honest, hardworking, everyday Californians that are paying their taxes, and then redirect that money to people that they find somehow qualified for these buyer programs.
With the session in its final week, this bill is headed back to the Assembly, and if it passes, it'll go to the governor's desk where he will sign or veto the legislation.
Democratic Senator Dave Cortese voted in favor of this bill and told ABC 10 this is about equity and inclusion and ensuring discriminatory housing and lending policies are a thing of the past.
All right, y'all saw the video, and I'm gonna tell you straight up. I agree with Senator Jones when it comes to the AB 1840. I think it is unfair, to say the least, that that bill gets passed. Now, for starters, I feel bad. For starters, if this bill does get passed in the state of California, I'm going to feel bad for all the tax-paying citizens of the state of California, along with all the immigrants in California that had to enter in this country and do things the right way and are still doing things the right way. Which the immigrants who are doing things the right way also are tax-paying citizens. So for all those individuals in California, I feel bad for all of them. Because it is not fair that you have a bunch of people that technically do not belong in this country to be able to get the same benefits as tax-paying citizens, American citizens in California in this case. Now, unfortunately, these shenanigans are not just being pulled in the state of California, they're also being pulled in New York as well as the state of Illinois. Now, here's the reason why that at the beginning of the video, I mentioned that the AB 1840 could increase homelessness throughout the United States, even though AB 1840 right now is only in the state of California, and bills and bills very similar to AB 1840 are also in New York as well as Illinois. Now, there's a lot of you that still want to go out here and vote based on identity politics. You want to listen to people like the people of at the Breakfast Club, and you want to listen to Smiley and Steve Harvey and all these celebrities that have no business even speaking on politics. They need to just do what they do and shut the hell up. But we all know, at least some of us know, that these individuals are paid by the Democrat Party to run their mouth, so they do what they do. But whatever. But here's the thing. There's a lot of you out here that aren't being paid anything. You're just out, some of you aren't being paid anything at all, but you still want to encourage other people to vote based on identity as opposed to policy. And I'm hoping that the AB 1840 will be a huge wake-up call for those of you that still want to vote on identity politics as opposed to policy. Now, some of you are probably asking yourself, what the hell does AB 1840 have to do with the rest of the country when AB 1840 is only in the state of California? Some of you are probably thinking, you know what, I live in Tennessee. I live in a red state. They're not going to pull that AB 1840 crap over here. Well, right now you're absolutely correct. However, if the wrong party gets elected in November, my prediction is bills like AB 1840 could turn into a federal policy as opposed to just being a state of California policy. And obviously, I'm speaking hypothetically. It may happen. It may not happen. Obviously, I'm hoping it doesn't happen. I'm hoping that the right leadership gets elected so shenanigans like that don't happen. But let's say the wrong leadership gets elected and policy and bills similar to AB 1840 becomes a federal policy, which means every state in the union will have to have some type of a program to where your quote-unquote illegals will be able to get a certain amount of money towards assistance for their home purchase, and they will be able to take advantage of zero down and probably super low interest rates that most of us Americans would never be able to get. So let me paint a picture of what could happen if bills like AB 1840 passes and becomes a federal law. Now, for starters, why do I think that AB 1840 could become a federal law? Well, based on the work that the vice president has done the last 4 years, based on the work that the vice president has done in their home state of California, I think my predictions of AB 1840 becoming a federal bill that will be passed into law is very much a possibility. And I think my predictions, unfortunately, are head on. And if that does happen, you can look, number one, you can look for rent prices to increase, because if the demands for more people to purchase homes go up, as many of us have had the unfortune of realizing, housing prices are going to go up. If housing prices goes up, guess what else is going to go up? Your rent, for those of you that are paying rent, your rent prices are going to go up. If housing prices goes up, well, guess what else is going to go up? Property taxes, homeowners insurance, repair and maintenance, which, as I said a second ago, is going to affect the price of rent for those of you that are renting. And if policies like AB 1840 gets passed and it becomes a federal policy, and that policy turns into law on the federal level, for those of you that might be renting, you like where you live, you like your neighborhood, you live close to your family, you might have the fortune to live in the city that you grew up in. Well, guess what could potentially happen? Your landlord might decide to sell the property, because your landlord might be thinking, well, if I can sell my property for X amount of money and get more money in a lump sum, as opposed to me hanging on to the property and continuing to have to maintain it, continuing to have to abide by whatever rental laws that particular state has on the books. If I can just sell this property, get it out of my hands, get all my money, and walk away, I'd rather do that. So if you have a landlord that decides to sell that property, and the buyer happens to be one of these quote unquote illegals, guess what could happen to you, the renter? You might get that letter in the mail. You might get that knock on the door. Hey, sir. Hey, ma'am. You got 30 days to pack it up and be gone. If they're nice, you got 60 days to pack it up and be gone. Or two, they might raise the rent so high that they know you're not going to be able to afford it. So you're going to have no choice but to pack it up and be gone. And guess what? That could potentially happen, because when these so-called illegals, well, not so-called, but quote-unquote illegals, buy up all these, buy up a whole crap ton of properties due to the AB 1840, or other words known as the California Dream for All. Already, I'm back. I just had to shut the camera off for a minute. I had my cat was getting into something that she shouldn't be getting into, so I had to hurry up and take care of that. But I'm back. But as I was saying, the AB 1840 bill / the California Dream for All program, if policies similar to that become federal law, assuming that the wrong leadership gets elected in November in the White House, as I was saying before, for those of you that are currently paying rent, you might get that notice, whether it be through mail, whether it be that knock on the door. Your rent so high to where you have no choice but to move. Or B, they're going to tell you, hey, they no longer want anybody in this house. They want to turn it into something else. Most likely, they'll probably have their kinfolks that come into this country to move into that house. So, what this policy could potentially do is displace a bunch of you that are paying rent. And this policy is going to most likely affect working class communities. It's not going to affect the super wealthy. It's not going to affect the Steve Harveys or the Oprah Winfreys. It ain't going to affect people like them. It's going to most likely affect people like me and you, the working class. So I can't emphasize enough that when you go vote in November, I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm just telling you, when you go vote, don't vote based on identity, politics. Vote strictly based on policy, as I've told you before. And AB 1840 is the reason why that a lot of you guys need to get your head out your asses when it comes to how to vote. And I would love for you guys to sound off in the comments. How do you guys feel about AB 1840 passing in California? Now, at this point, it hasn't passed yet. I mean, so far, there's been a vote to pass it. 23 to 11, 23 are for it, 11 people oppose. It hasn't passed at this point. It's supposed to pass within, I forgot when they said, I forgot when exactly when they stated that it was going to pass or not pass. But honestly, I have a very bad taste in my mouth that this policy will pass in the state of California. And if it does, it's most likely it will. And if it does, as I told you guys earlier in the video, I feel bad for all the tax-paying citizens of California. I feel bad for all the immigrants who live in California and they had to do things the correct way. They didn't get to this coming here illegally. I feel bad for all those people. It's not fair. It's not right. And what other country do any of you guys know that people who are not citizens of that country can just go in and receive all these benefits courtesy of the tax-paying citizens? I know for a fact Canada ain't doing no shit like that. And maybe I'm wrong about Mexico, but I don't think Mexico is either. So, yeah, this, and I think at this point you guys pretty much know how I feel about the AB 1840. And hopefully it's traveling home for many of you of how the AB 1840 could potentially increase the homelessness in this country if the wrong leadership gets elected come November. And on that note, if you like what I do, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. And while you're at it, if you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel. Stay blessed. And remember, policy over identity.